Hey there folks, welcome to this video, and here I'm going to be talking about the WRC. The World Rally Championship is probably my favourite motorsport series to follow, and actually on this channel it occupies, or topics related to it occupy, 4 of the top 6 most viewed videos. Which is why it's weird that I haven't actually talked about the WRC at length for about 2 months. My last video, which this is essentially following on from, which you can find in the description down below, was asking if we could be seeing the shortest calendar since the 90s. Of course, with in 1996 there being 9 rounds of the championship, and in 1995 there being 8. And I think there's every chance that that could be happening. Since I last did the video where I suggested there could be 10 rallies, it's gotten to the point where there are now 9 scheduled rallies to take part this season. After the cancellation of Portugal, the cancellation of the Safari, and the postponement, potentially for a later date in the season, for Argentina and Sardinia. That means WRC is scheduled to get back underway in August with Rally Finland, which seems quite hopeful at the moment because Toyota are suggesting they're going to enter 5 cars, with an extra car for Katsuta and an extra car for Latvala, who was supposed to be taking part in Sardinia. Now, what we need to ask is how many more rallies we could get out of this season. New Zealand could potentially be on the cards. I mean, New Zealand and Jacinda Ardern's leadership has dealt with the ongoing crisis really well, probably the best in the world. So there is every chance, but at the same time, are there going to be travel restrictions? And will those still be in place come September? Rally Turkey, very much similar kind of question. And then after that you have Rally Germany and Rally GB, and Germany's current situation is showing some problems. That said, it's not as bad as what's happening over here in Britain. And I mean, I've done a video Friday saying how pessimistic I am about the British Grand Prix happening in July. I wonder if Rally GB will happen come October, November. And of course, Rally Japan still scheduled for a November return to the calendar. Now, out of these, I think that they could potentially all go ahead. Potentially. Of course, what we're talking about is a situation that's constantly developing, and we can hardly predict where we're going to be 6 months down the line when we're supposed to be in Japan. Everything could be back to the way it was, more or less. The question is now, not only are these rallies going to happen, but what happens if they don't? Like, the shortest calendar that we've had has been 8 rallies. That was in 95 when Claude McRae won the championship, but it was also in 1974, the second year of the WRC. There was a debate on Durfish. I'll put a link in the description down below, where Colin Clark hosted Ogier, Tanak and Lappi. And he asked, if you're running a shortened calendar, will you be considered any less a champion? If they're running an 8-round calendar, which could well likely happen, they very much are deserving of it, because 95 was an 8-round calendar, and who won that? Colin McRae. 96, where we had 9 rounds. It was the first championship for Tommy Mackinnon. But yeah, I understand all of the concerns. For me, I could see Sardinia coming back in, potentially at the expense of, I'd hate to say it, but New Zealand or Turkey, or maybe even Japan. I don't see Argentina coming back in though. It's just a matter of flyaway events. That said, I'm not sure if there are anything in terms of rule sets saying that you need to compete in a certain amount of rallies outside of Europe. That was something that the WRC historically had to try and make sure that flyaway rallies had competitors. It would say you need to compete in at least one or at least two outside of Europe. Now, it would make sense if they were able to offer a buy to competitors for this year only, because, well, the only one we've had so far is Mexico, and they could full well cancel any other proper flyaways from Europe. But, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with the WRC. We've seen a couple of events say, oh, if you need to make up numbers, we're happy to host. Probably the main one for that was Catalonia. But it's weird to think that in this past year we had everything that was going on in Australia with the wildfires that led to the cancellation of the rally. And then we had Sweden hit by, again, climate problems. Then we had Mexico that was shortened because of this crisis. Argentina postponed, Portugal cancelled, Sardinia postponed, Kenya cancelled. There are questions being asked, is the WRC in trouble? I made a video asking that just after Citroen left and the Autosport launch was cancelled. I might ask that again, but right now I don't know. Is WRC in trouble? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. My feeling is it's not so much, but I think this changes where they need to go with 2022. I think they need to go back to the drawing board. Not as a means of, oh, we could end up losing a manufacturer, because I think the three that we've got in Hyundai, M Sport and Toyota are more committed to the WRC in the future. But to be able to make it long-term viable for other manufacturers to potentially join, I think we need to do that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening, because I know it's a weekend and this is a lengthy video. I've been wanting to talk about the WRC for a while, but apart from talking about when Sainz got named the greatest rally driver of all time, I haven't really been talking about the WRC. So, honestly, thank you. It means a lot to me to know that people sat down and watched this. I hope to see you again soon. Please do stick around. Bye bye for now.